What's going on, guys? MariK here, back with Day 19 of the Dragon Ball Super Reveals for Set 9 Universal Onslaught. After the disappointing repost of the iconic attack rares, Bandai has also revealed to us the reboot leaders that we've all been waiting for since, hell, I don't know, since they initially revealed they were going to reboot some of the leaders. And I gotta say, a couple of these leaders are a hell of a lot better than I expected. Let's go ahead and check this shit out. So first, we're going to start off with the new hit leader. Even though the artwork is initially the same, having the black and white background really kind of, it sets the tone for his time-stopping abilities, at least in my opinion. The original auto said, when this card attacks, gain 5,000 power for the duration of the turn, while the new one said, if this attacks a leader card, you draw a card and gain 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. So you have to attack a leader to get that extra 5,000 now, but you do get the draw on the attack as well, giving him a little bit more card advantage. And instead of drawing 2 cards at 4 life, you draw 1 card and switch energy to active mode when you flip this card over. So basically, he's just a little bit more modernized so that he fits in with the current leaders. On the Awaken side, we have Assassin Hit Returns. His original auto said, when this card attacks, draw a card, and this card gains 5,000 for the duration of the turn. Now it says, when this card attacks, draw 1 card, it gains 5,000 for the duration of the turn, and then choose 1 skill-less battle card in your drop area with an energy cost of 2 or less and play it. So that's kind of an interesting addition to the card that really didn't have any functionality, especially for a leader way back then. We didn't care about skill-less cards. Is that enough of a reason for you to run a skill-less cards in this deck? Not really, unless you want to run the old hit, who was a skill-less card, and then you could run the what is it? He's either a 5 or a 6 cost. I think he's 6. Evolves for 5 that does the burn damage. So you could do that to kind of set up your hit battle cards for that final evolution. His activate main / battle says, once per turn, choose a card in your hand, place in your drop area. Choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with double strike, critical, or blocker, and KO it. Barrier is going to be the best. I mean, granted, it's usually the best protection anyways, but it's definitely going to be the best protection against this leader for sure. The fact that that is activate main or battle is actually really amazing, and I have some stupid ideas for this deck that there's not really a theme to the deck that I am working with per se, but definitely some stupid stuff that I think will work really nice with this. And again, barrier and I guess indestructible too would be the best ways to get around that activate battle ability, since there's no restriction on the card that you're KOing with its ability. Whereas the original hit leader just said, once per turn when your opponent activates a blocker, you could discard a red card to negate that blocker. So definitely an improvement on easily one of the most forgettable leaders in the game. Up next, we have the new Beerus leader. Immense changes were made to this card. The original card said, when this card attacks, if you have 3 or more energy, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost 2 or less, and KO it. Really, the only way that you could even take a decent bit of advantage of that ability was to turn 2, play objection, so you hit 3 energy as early as possible, and can start your KOing. Now, he just says, when this card attacks a leader card, choose one. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost 2 or less, and KO it, or draw a card. So you get either or on that ability. If you have a card you want to get rid of, if you don't, then you get to draw a card. So not bad at all. And this time, he also draws a card and switches the energy to active mode instead of drawing 2 on his Awaken. Now, his Awaken side has immense changes made to it in comparison to the hit leader. Originally, when he attacked, you get to draw a card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost 3 or less, and KO it. Your energy didn't really matter at that point. His new ability says, when your opponent's life is at 4 or less, anytime this card would deal damage to your opponent, choose up to 1 card in your drop area and place it in your energy in rest mode instead. This card can just sit there and swing at your opponent all day to deal damage. And instead of dealing damage, you're going to add a card. Now, I want to wait for clarification before we make any assumptions, but if you give your leader double strike and you deal 2 damage, would you get 2 cards from your drop area? Or would it just count as dealing damage and you would only still get the 1? That we're going to have to wait and see what Bandai says on that one. His auto says, when this card attacks, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost 3 or less, and KO it, or draw 1 card. The downside there is I like that the original Beerus leader did both of those, and I feel like this leader should do both. But I guess for balancing purposes, I don't really know. The permanent is crazy though, and it means that you don't care about getting cards in your drop. So sparking you can take advantage of, and burst will help your deck out as well. So this is a really cool way to kind of do some ramp stuff. And then he's still got the same activate main at 16 energy. You win the game. So, and what's one thing they took away too, that if you didn't notice, is the original card said switch this card to rest mode. You win the game. Not this one. This one doesn't have to be in rest mode. He is ready to fight. So you can get that last attack in, get the permanent, and then still trigger the ability. So you don't have to wait till the next turn when you're already sitting at 16 energy, which would be phenomenal anyway. So this leader is really going to want to take advantage of getting as many attacks with the leader card as possible, while also playing some ramp cards to increase his energy count, and playing defensive cards like the blue Vegito, for example, to keep your opponent from attacking your leader, blockers, negates. You're going to want to be defensive with this leader, and then offensive with the leader himself. So I'm really looking forward to building some decks with this guy. It just seems like a really cool new addition, and with the built-in ramp, and the fact that you're losing no card advantage. No card advantage for that ramp, too. So since you're taking it from the drop area, you're not losing cards. It's infinitely better than, say, like playing a card like Objection or any of that shit to get extra energy. Up next, we have the rebooted Son Gohan leader. Originally, he said, when this card attacks, if Son Goku's in your drop area, he gets plus 5,000 for the duration of the turn. Really situational, but at the same time, all you could do is just combo a Goku, and then that auto would be fulfilled. Now he says, once per turn, choose one or two cards in your life, add them to your hand. When this card attacks, switch this card to active mode. So, you're kind of getting a draw when he attacks. I mean, you're not really, but you're getting a card from your life to your hand. So, in a way, you are getting card advantage. And getting to switch him to active mode means that you can, get additional hits in, because his awakened ability is going to literally be going for your throat. So you don't really care about dealing a little bit of damage here and there to your opponent. And then when your life is at 3 or less, you get to draw 2 cards, choose one of your energy, switch it to active mode, and flip this card over. So you have to get yourself down pretty low to 3 life before you get to awaken. But hopefully that new ability on the awakened side will be worth it. On the Awakened side, first of all, I have to give props and credit for the art. The art looks phenomenal compared to the original that came out in Union Force. This one just looks so much fucking better. His auto says, when this card attacks, draw 1 card. And he's got 2 new abilities now. They're kind of the same as the original ability, but separated. So, the Activate Battle says, once per turn, during your turn, choose 1 card in your life, place it in your drop area. This card gets plus 10,000 power and triple strike for the duration of the turn. So, ideally, you're only going to be able to use that ability twice, because you have to get 3 life to be able to awaken, so you're only going to get to take 2 life for this ability. The Activate Main says, once per turn, switch this card to active mode. At the end of the turn, you lose the game. So, 25,000 and triple strike it's a lot better than the original, which said remove all cards in your drop area from the game, which was just weird. And he gains plus 5,000 in triple strike, and then you lose at the end of the game, at the end of the turn. So it's an improvement for sure, but you don't have to use that Activate Main. Now, unless you want to go for that extra kill damage, unless you need to, if say you're off by 1 damage, or your opponent stopped an attack, whatever, then that's kind of a risk versus reward kind of ability. But it's nice that the part that says you lose the game if you don't win the game, it's nice that that's a separate ability. You are choosing whether or not to trigger that, but you can still activate the other ability to get the triple strike and the 10,000 power. So that's pretty cool. Also, and I really probably should not be hinting at this, but this card is also Son Goku, not just Son Gohan. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind with that triple strike damage. Just think about it. Next up, we've got the new Meta Cooler. I know a lot of people were looking forward to this, and honestly, I gotta say, even though the card on the Unawakened side is almost the same in terms of the art, I do like the purplish background compared to the red. He looks a little bit more accurate to the color, at least to me. He looked a little too green, and then the yellow text just looks great. But when this card is placed in your lead area, you get a big Getty Star, just like with the original leader. Now, this one's a bit different. Instead of your life being at 4 or less, he says, when you have 2 or more Frieza Clan cards in play, you can draw 2 cards and flip this card over. Like, literally, turn 2. Turn 2, bam, you're awakened. So, you start taking advantage of the awakened side's abilities, because the front side doesn't do shit for you. You get your big Getty Star out there, but after that, you just want to awaken as quick as possible. And this deck easily lets you do that on turn 2. The Awakened side, once again, I have to give credit for the art. This just looks so much better than the original Meta Cooler. I love this, and I cannot wait to see this card foil. His new auto says, when this card attacks, place up to 3 cards from the top of your deck in your drop area. Then choose one Meta Cooler or Meta Cooler card in your drop area and add it to your hand. So, the same auto as the original card. Now he has 2 abilities in place of 1. His new Activate main says, once per turn, if you have 2 or more Frieza Clan cards in play, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode, and it can be switched to active mode during their next charge phase. That's a really cool ability. It's kind of the same as the original, but you had to have 3 Meta Cooler in play, and you just switched it to rest mode, but it can be switched back at any time. So I like how they're focusing more on it being Frieza Clan instead of Meta Cooler. That kind of opens you up to being able to use some of the other, like, not Meta Cooler cards, as well as some of the Frieza or even King Cold cards as well. His Activate battle says, once per turn, choose one Meta Cooler card in your battle area. It gets plus 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. So that's not terrible either. I do like this card. I think it's a vast improvement on the original, but it's nothing too spectacular compared to some of the other leaders. It's kind of like the Gohan, for example. It's nothing too crazy, but it's a major improvement on what the original card was. It's not so much like the Beerus and the Hit that had a major change made to the way the leader is played now. This is played very similarly to the original Meta Cooler. It's just a lot better than the original Meta Cooler. Then lastly, we have the leader that really did not need to be rebooted, the Super Saiyan 3 Son Goku. Honestly, this was the leader that I was the most irritated that was actually chosen. I'm not surprised they chose a Goku, but I was really annoyed that it happened to be this Goku. Now, I will say, I think this might be my favorite out of all of them, and I'll explain why in a moment. First of all, I like how the art is much more clean. Of course, it's partially because we don't have all the boxes and shit in front of the art. I do dislike that it's yellow, though. Like, the card looks yellow. The blue on the card, the original card, was much nicer. And not to mention, he's using Kamehameha, which is blue. Why the hell is it yellow? That's just nitpicking, but I don't understand the design choice there. He still retains his permanent, says you can only have 6 energy in your energy area. His Activate main is now replaced with an auto. Says, choose one card in your hand, place it at the bottom of your deck. When this card attacks, choose one card in your life and place it in your energy and rest mode. In a way, that is actually better than the original. The original said, place a card in your hand in the drop area. If you have no energy, choose 2 cards in your life, add them to your energy. That basically just sets you up a turn ahead of your opponent. And, which, part of what made that so annoying is if they go first, when they're at 3 energy, you're sitting at 1. You're just like, what do I do? Now, when he attacks, and I wish they'd made it to where he had to attack a leader for this ability, but you're going to discard a card and take a card from your life, put it in your energy. He has, granted, the card didn't have any card advantage build up to begin with, but this is one of those leaders where your opponent can choose not to try and deal damage to you, but you're going to awaken regardless, because you can take the damage yourself. I feel like against this leader, you're gonna want to go as aggressively as possible, because the more damage you inflict early on, the less chances they've had to trigger that auto, and the lower their energy count's going to be. If you let them do it on their own, they're going to get more and more energy, since you can do that ability more than once, whereas the Activate Main, you had to have no energy to trigger it on the original Goku card. So this time, you can attack, add an energy, attack, add an energy. You're going to get up to your energy a lot faster than you would with the original card. When you're 4 or less, you draw 1 card and flip this card over. So you don't draw 2, you don't flip any energy back to active mode. So they really hindered that. So your deck is really going to have to be careful on retaining card advantage if you're going to run this leader and continue to use this auto ability. The Awakened side didn't really change a whole lot. In fact, it is more or less set up to how the card should have been when it was originally created. They pretty much took a lot of our suggestion to heart with how this card should have been done, or I guess, in fact, how to redo this card. When this card attacks, you draw 1 card just like you would with the original leader, but now he also gains 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. At the end of the turn, you get to choose 3 of your mono blue energy and switch them to active mode. So, now your energy has to be blue. And on top of that, it has to be mono blue. So, this is what we were saying all along, is that he should have only been able to untap blue energy. Bandai went ahead 1 step further, and they were smart about it. And so, we're giving them credit for this one, because they specifically state mono blue energy. You have to run a mono blue deck. Now, of course, you could still run the red-blue super combo, the blue-green, the blue-yellow, whatever super combo you want to use. And hell, I might even use, like, the red-blue just so you can get 4 energy back to active mode. Oh boy, that's insane. But this is the way the leader should have been. He should have untapped blue energy from the beginning. He wouldn't have been as abused, as busted, and we wouldn't have had this, like, this Goku dictator format where every deck was ran with the Goku leader, because he just allowed you to tap out like an idiot and have, you know, an immense amount of energy back. Now, you can still play other cards. I think I already said this. You can play other cards that are not mono blue. You're only charging mono blue, though. So if it has an energy cost that's going to require any other color than blue, you're not going to be able to play it. But cards like Overwhelm cards, you can still play. You can still play any dual colored card that does not require a specific energy to play, unless it's blue, or any dual colored card that you can play, like if you combo and just requires a combo cost of 1. Doesn't require specific colors, so you can still use those. But I like that this card is built around the idea of a mono blue deck, because I know what I'm doing with this card. In fact, I had a couple decks that used this leader, but once he became abused and used with every deck, I kind of scrapped those decks, and I felt so gross even thinking about using this leader, so I never touched it again. And I had a foil one that I pulled out of my original, I think I pulled it during the case battle I uploaded forever ago for set 3, and so I think I got rid of it. I don't even think I have it anymore, but that's fine, because the new one's better and playable. So, definitely looking forward to this card. This was the card I was least looking forward to the most, and somehow he's just now my favorite out of these 5 new Reboot leaders. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this video up here. This was a very interesting, a very good reveal. I am happy to see, really, the changes made to all of these leaders. Hit is going to be a terror if your cards don't have barrier. Whether you're attacking or whether he's attacking, your shit is now at risk without barrier or indestructible. Beerus' ability, they're going to be able to get their energy without dealing damage to you, so they're not giving you any extra card advantage when they're attacking, and they're slowly going to ramp up, be able to play more powerful cards. Ooh, like the old original set 1/7 cost Beerus. That would be fun in that deck. Just taking away your shit while I'm getting up to 16 energy to just auto win. The Gohan leader, the triple strike, it's massive damage without having the stupid auto to lose at the end of the turn. Meta Cooler, great awakening mechanic. Overall, just a better version of the card. And then, of course, we've got the Son Goku that's just a better version of what he was supposed to be in the beginning anyways. So, honestly, I think all of these are going to be fantastic. I hope the pull rates for these is not stupid, but at the same time, I hope I don't get 5 or 6 of them because obviously I only need one of them since they're all leader cards. So, but let me know what you guys think of the leaders. Which one do you think is your personal favorite? Which do you think will be meta defining? Do you think this Goku is going to be too powerful like his original incarnation, or do you think this is a much better balanced version that we'll see play in events and be able to top events but not be overly toxic? Let me know what you guys think in those comments down below. We're going to go ahead and get the freak out of here, and we'll see you guys in the next video.